the reason behind that miracle is that the Devas were watching this. Remember? Devas want Prince Siddhartha to leave home and find true happiness, find freedom. They want Prince Siddhartha to become a Buddha. So guess what Devas did? When horse Kantaka was walking, Devas came and kept their hand under the foot so that the sound of the footsteps wouldn't be heard to anyone. So Prince Siddhartha, Charitiya Channa and horse Kantaka was closely approaching the gate of the palace. Now these gates, meritorious children, are always locked. Why? Yes, because King Suddhodana knows that Prince Siddhartha might leave home one day. And so King Suddhodana made sure that all gates were properly locked. He put gates that were so heavy that 1,000 people are required to open the gate. That's how big and heavy the gates were. So now normally, on a regular day, these gates would be locked at night. And they would be locked during the daytime as well. So on the way, Prince Siddhartha is thinking, if the gate is locked, then I'm going to take Channa and Kantaka and I'm going to jump off the wall. Because remember, Prince Siddhartha is very strong. He has extraordinary power. He has extraordinary strength. Remember how we talked about how Prince Siddhartha showed his skills to win Princess Yashodhara? Yes. So in that way, Prince Siddhartha is very strong. He has very much physical power. So on the way he's thinking, if the gates are locked, I'll jump off the wall with my strength. And in the same way, Channa is thinking, if the gates are locked, then I'll take Prince Siddhartha to one side and grab onto horse Kantaka and jump off with horse Kantaka. And similarly, horse Kantaka is thinking, if the gates are locked, then I'll make sure that Prince Siddhartha is on my back safely, and I'll make sure that Channa is on my back safely, and I'll jump off the wall. So in this way, they're slowly approaching the main gate. And what a wonder, when they approached the gates were open. It was a miracle. Now who did that miracle? Yes, again, it was the Devas who helped. The Devas came and unlocked the gate, and they opened the gate. So Prince Siddhartha, without any trouble, without any obstacle, was able to leave his home through the eastern gate of the palace. So now why is he leaving? Yes, Prince Siddhartha is leaving because he wants to find liberation. He became disappointed in seeing the four signs. He saw that people age, they become old. People suffer when they become sick. And he saw that all beings in this world pass away, they die. And in this way, people go through a lot of pain. And Prince Siddhartha felt a lot of compassion toward all beings. He thought, my mother and father has to face all these pains. My wife, my baby son has to face this pain, this suffering. I myself will have to face it. So he thought, no, there must be a way out of this. So with the sole goal of finding true happiness, he left his loved ones and left his luxurious life to find happiness for all of us, to find the path that leads to true freedom out of compassion to all beings in this world. Now, meritorious children, something extraordinary, something very strange happened the moment Prince Siddhartha left the gate. A deva, a person, a being who looked like a deva, who dressed in golden jewelry, appeared in front of Prince Siddhartha. So Prince Siddhartha asked, "Who are you?" And so the deva replied, "I am Mara, the evil one." What did he say? He said, "I am Mara, the evil one." So the Mara says, "Dear prince, don't leave home. Stay at home, remain at home for 7 more days, and you can become a universal king." Now remember, before we talked about the fact that Prince Siddhartha could either become a Sambuddha or he could become a universal king. Do you remember who a universal king is? Is a universal king is the king who becomes the ruler of the whole world. And when a person becomes a universal king, he rules the world peacefully. There are no wars during his time. He rules the world according to the Dharma. So this Mara invited Prince Siddhartha to remain at home for 7 more days so that he can become the universal king. And when Prince Siddhartha heard this, he said, "Mara, I don't want to become the universal king. I'm looking to find a real freedom. I'm looking to attain Buddhahood. Becoming a universal king is not what I want. That's not my goal." And when he said this, Mara disappeared. Now, meritorious children, who's Mara? We must learn who Mara is. Mara is a person who tries to stop us from escaping from this cycle of birth and death. He wants us to continue in this life of birth and death without escaping from it. Now, it's just like a prison. Now, in a prison, if the prisoners try to escape from the prison, what does the prison guard do? The prison guard comes and stops them. He tries his best to stop the prisoners from escaping the prison, doesn't it? Just like that, Mara is always on the watch. If someone is trying to find liberation from these sufferings, if someone is trying to find true happiness, if someone is trying to escape from this cycle of birth and death, then he's always on the watch and he tries his best to put on obstacles to stop his way. That's who Mara is. Now this Mara was watching Prince Siddhartha very carefully. He was watching for Prince Siddhartha to make a mistake. He thought, let him make a mistake and I'll catch him. So Mara was always on the watch. So when Prince Siddhartha asked Mara to go away, Mara disappeared. And Prince Siddhartha, along with Channa and horse Kantaka, left home, left the gate and continued throughout the night. So as they were traveling, little by little, they reached the river Anoma. Which river did they reach? Yes, they reached the river called Anoma. Now, meritorious children, rivers back in India are very wide, but they're not very deep. So during the hot season, during summer, you can easily cross the river. So now at that time, it was an Asala full moon Poya day. So during Asala, that's in June, it's the summertime. So the river wasn't very deep. It was shallow, so you could easily cross the river. So Prince Siddhartha, along with Channa and Kantaka, crossed the river and went to the shore, went to the other side. And there, guess what Prince Siddhartha did? Yes, he took off all his beautiful golden jewelry. He took them off and he wrapped it in a golden silk cloth. What did he do? Yes, he took off his jewelry and he put it on a golden silk cloth. He wrapped it and he gave it to Channa. And then he grabbed his hair and using his sword, he cut off his hair. And he took his hair by his hand and he threw it up into the sky. And he determined, if I am going to reach Buddhahood, may this hair not fall back, not fall down. Now just like he determined, the hair didn't fall back. The hair didn't fall down. A deva named Great Sakra grabbed the hair and he took the hair and put it in a golden casket. Now when you go to temples, you can see that the Supreme Buddha's relics are deposited, are placed in beautiful caskets. That's what's called a casket. So he put the hair in a beautiful golden casket, and in the Deva world he made a stupa named Silumini. What's the name? It's called Silumini Stupa. Now you know that we can go to different stupas and worship the Supreme Buddha, because some of the stupas contain the Supreme Buddha's relics. So just like that, in the Deva world, Great Sakka created a stupa called Silumini. And then there was another person watching this incident. His name was Brahma Gatikara. What's his name? Brahma Gatikara. Now the Brahma world is an even better world than the Deva world. You must do a lot of good things like meditation to be born in the Brahma world. Now this Brahma Gatikara, meritorious children, was an old friend of Bodhisattva. In one of the previous lives, there were two friends. They were good friends. And back in the past life, his name was Jyotipala. So after dying from that birth, he was reborn in the Brahma world, and he was watching Prince Siddhartha in his journey to attain Buddhahood. And so this Brahma Gatikara thought, oh, my friend is about to become ordained in his journey to finding true happiness. So I must give him the robes and the bowl, the alms bowl he needs. So Brahma Gatikara came and gave Prince Siddhartha the robes he needed and the alms bowl he needed. That's how Prince Siddhartha got his robe and the alms bowl. So Prince Siddhartha removed his beautiful, elegant clothes and he wore a robe. He cut off his hair and he became a recluse. Then Recluse Gautama, he was called Recluse Gautama from the moment he got ordained. So Recluse Gautama went and spoke to Channa. He gave his old clothes to him and he said, friend, take this bag along with the jewelry and give my parents. Let them know that I'm all right. Let them know that I'm all right, because he knows that King Suddhodana and Queen Prajapati and Princess Yashodhara might be panicking by now. So he told Channa, Channa, you've been a good friend to me, but everyone who meets must become separated, and it's time for us to become separated. And he slowly went to speak to horse Kantaka. He said, Kantaka, you've also been a good friend to me. We have played together, we have had good times together, but now it's time for me to leave, go on my way. It's time for you to go back home. Now Kantaka felt this. He was very sad, he was very emotional, he was crying. He kneeled down and he was crying on the foot of Recluse Gautama. It was a very emotional situation. Channa was very sad. Channa kneeled down and started to cry. But of course, Recluse Gautama said, friends, this is the goal that I have decided to strive. I must go on. So he asked Channa and Kantaka to go back home. And so Recluse Gautama turned the other way and he slowly started to walk. And as the view of Recluse Gautama disappeared, Kantaka, horse Kantaka, could no longer bear the pain. Out of heartbreak, horse Kantaka passed away. Now Channa was all alone. Now, before Kantaka died, Channa was very sad. And after Kantaka died, horse Kantaka died, he became even more sad because now he was all alone. He's miles away from the palace. But of course, Channa had to face this situation, so he watched Recluse Gautama walk away from him slowly, little by little. Now, meritorious children, something special is that this horse Kantaka and Channa was born on the same day that Prince Siddhartha was born. So they were all the same age. They were all the same age. So Prince Siddhartha was 29 years of age. So was Channa. So was Kantaka. So Prince Siddhartha left home at the age of 29. And so Channa returned back home. It took 7 days for him to return back home. And of course, meanwhile, when King Suddhodana and Queen Prajapati got to know that Prince Siddhartha had left, they were panicking. King Suddhodana asked his workers, his servants, to put on a search for Prince Siddhartha. And he said, if you do not find Prince Siddhartha, then do not return. He was furious. And Queen Prajapati was crying. She was on the floor. She was crying. She couldn't bear the pain. And same with Princess Yashodhara. They were all very sad. Now, meritorious children, this is the reason why Prince Siddhartha didn't inform the family before leaving. Because if they knew that Prince Siddhartha was leaving, then he wouldn't be allowed. He knew that they will stop his way. And he knew that if Princess Yashodhara saw him leaving her, she wouldn't be able to bear the pain, that she would pass away out of heartbreak. So out of compassion to everyone, Prince Siddhartha left home without informing anyone. And so, everyone was searching for Prince Siddhartha, but they couldn't find him anywhere. So after 7 days, Channa returned home. Channa told King Suddhodana of what happened. King Suddhodana asked Channa, can't you go back and get him? And Channa said, dear king, there is no way that we can get back Prince Siddhartha. He's now Recluse Gautama. There is no way that he would return back home unless he reaches his goal. So King Suddhodana became very sad. Queen Prajapati became sad. Channa said, Prince Siddhartha gave these clothes and this jewelry and asked me to return them back to you. And he asked me to tell you that he's all right, that not to worry about him. So, meritorious children, this is how our great Prince Siddhartha renounced his luxurious life and became a monk, became a recluse. So why did he leave all these luxurious things? His loving family, his loving mother, his loving father, his loving wife and baby. Why did he leave? He left because he wanted to find something beyond this ordinary world. He wanted, out of most compassion, to give a solution to all beings so that everyone could find freedom, find a way to escape from suffering that's caused by aging, by becoming sick, and through death. That's the reason why Prince Siddhartha left home and became a recluse in search of Samma Sambuddhahood. So today we talked about a lot of things, didn't we? We talked about the renunciation. This is called the Great Renunciation. And this great renunciation happened on an Asala full moon day. You must remember this well. So in our next episode, let's continue to find out what happened to recluse Gautama. So until next time, I want you to try to remember what we learned today. Try your best to remember what we learned today. And in the next episode, we'll continue to find out about recluse Gautama. So until then, may all of you be well and happy. Namo Buddhaya.